Okay, welcome back to Hangar 51. So I'm going to do a video today that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I finally pulled the trigger to do it. This is going to be a pretty long video, so if you want to go get some popcorn and a drink, you may want to do that. So over the years, the T-28's been one of my best flying airplanes because I bought one that I thought was the best. And that opinion hasn't changed yet. I mean, I still think that the Carbon Z T-28 is the ultimate best, but that's too big for a lot of you. You want a smaller version. So the 1450 size one has been everybody's go-to size airplane pretty much. And I've never owned an FMS T-28 until now. I just got one. We're gonna unbox it right here. But what I did own was an Airfield from a company that went out of business a while ago. Well, their website's still up, but they're not in business, called Nitroplanes. And if you go to nitroplanes.com, you can see everything I'm talking about. It's all still there. They don't have any inventory, but it's all still there. They have some toy drones on their website that nobody'd be interested in buying, but you can see all the airplanes I'm talking about, all the different. This company, Airfield, was a name for nitroplanes from a company called just the letter ARC, and that was the parent company that had the molds and made these foam airplanes. And they made quite a few different airplanes: Mustangs, T-28s, Corsairs, and all from 800, 1100. And 1450 size. Those were the three sizes they pretty much stayed in. And they pretty much made every airplane in all three sizes. A Tempest, I think a Spitfire. There were a lot of planes that they made. So the company went out of business, and HSD, who we all know, bought all the molds. They have everything. They have everything that probably they're any leftover inventory. HSD got it all. And HSD doesn't want to do anything right now but make jets. So even though they have the molds, and if you go to the HSD video on YouTube, you can see the airplane that I'm going to show you and all the other stuff that they made in their showroom on pedestals. All these prop airplanes that they used to make and they don't make anymore. They have the molds, but all they want to make is jets. But if enough of you request it, then they might make it. Who knows? If they've got a couple hundred requests to make the 1450 size T-28 again, and they offered three color schemes also. There was the red and white, your traditional, and then they had the silver, which was the U.S. Air Force, and then they had an all gray one that was Navy, and so you could get. And I believe that I'm pretty sure the red and white one was marked Navy also. I don't think it was a Marine, even though Marines also use the red and white. But I'm pretty sure that the Navy scheme, it was marked Navy on the red and white and the gray. And then they had a U.S. Air Force one that looked chrome silver. And but anyway, so all this time I've had I've got two of the Airfield ones. One is still brand new in the box. Never took it out of the box. I had opened the box, and it was actually I just checked it again today. It was actually ready to fly. So there's a transmitter in the box too, along with the airplane. But it's all still taped in, original taping. It's never been out of the box. So we're gonna unbox the FMS one and the Airfield one together at the same time. These are both 1450 size T-28s, and we're going to compare them as I take them out of the box. Now, I've talked about this plane before, and I've talked about the FMS T-28 before, but I've never owned one of the FMS, but I've flown it. And that's not a very good way to review an airplane, because you don't know what the guy that owns it has done to it. Has it been crashed? Did they put extra glue in it? Did they have the CG wrong? Are they running the wrong battery? They just walk over to you with the transmitter and say, "Hey, fly my airplane." And that's okay, and I fly it, and I didn't have a very high opinion of it. The FMS T-28 did not fly half as good as my Airfield T-28. But now I've got my own, so now I'm going to be able to do a real review. But we're going to just do a comparison here first. We're going to unbox them together, and then we're going to I'm probably going to do a build also. I don't know if that's going to be in this video or not, so I don't know how long this is going to be, but just unboxing two airplanes at the same time and comparing them is going to take a while. And then if I do a build, I'll do a build on each one individually. It might be in this video, or I might do separate videos. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. So let me, I'm going to pause it here for a second. I'm going to get the FMS box up here on the table. We'll do an unboxing of that one. Just get it out of the shipping box, get the tapes cut, and then I'm going to get the Airfield box up on the table, and we'll compare them, because that one's already out of the shipping box, but it's still, you know, and the cover's untaped, but everything is still taped in it. So both planes, we're going to get them both in the exact same condition, and then we're going to compare them. So hang on a second. Let me get the FMS box open and out of the shipping box, and then we'll go from there. So stand by. In the past, I have accidentally bumped that and turned it off. Okay, so this is still a taped shipping box, FMS. So let's cut the tapes and get this open and out of here. All right. And I'm stopping the video for editing purposes. Not because I'm trying to hide anything, but it just makes it easier to edit it later if I've got stop points. And I'm going to probably put some time stamps in the comments below, so that if you want to go see a specific part of the video, I'll have it marked. And that way you can bypass all the extra hoopla and go straight to what you want to watch, because it is probably going to be a long video. Okay, so here it is in the box. Nice artwork, you know, good looking box. This is 1400 according to FMS. The other one's 1450. It's a little bigger, not much. I don't think we're going to see any significant difference in the size. They should be pretty close. Okay, so let me get this out of the shipping box. Now this is the red and white version. I could have got the yellow, but I honestly, two things. One, I like the yellow, but I still like the red and white better. That's my favorite T-28. So, and two, the red and white one was on sale, 30 bucks off, and the other one wasn't. So, made that choice real easy. Save 30 bucks. And it was red and white, so that's what I wanted. All right, so just to save room on the table, let's get this one out of the display box. So I can get this box off the table. It's going to be a little tight. Having two 14-size airplanes on the table at the same time is going to be a little tight. All right. Okay. So, and all the tapes are still, you know, nothing's been undone. Okay. All right. Now here's the Airfield box. So, the box is slightly bigger, not a big deal. And the artwork, they're displaying some of the airplanes. They use the same box for everything. So you can see on the box here, got a couple Mustangs here. These are Corsairs, the 3 T-28 color schemes. And then the end one is the Japanese Zero right there. 2 color schemes on the Zero. That was another one. Like I said, ARC, the company that manufactured these airplanes, made a lot of different airplanes in a lot of different schemes. And they were also offered in ready to fly, bind and fly, and kit. So they offered them in 3 different versions as well. So, okay, so here, everything's taped in. same thing. So this one's never been out of the box. I have one of these I fly. This one's still in the box. All right, so let's get a quick look at how they packaged them in the box real fast here. Like, again, this is going to be a little tough because these are two big airplanes. And all right, let me do this. I'm going to put this one right here for a second, so we can look at this one. Okay, so there's the FMS one, and you can see there's a phone here, and here, holding everything in. You can see part of the fuselage under here, and the wing, which is upside down. This is the bottom of the wing. The retracts are all closed up, and control horns are not connected. Okay, all right, and let's do a quick view of the Airfield one. I think one of the first things you're going to notice is the color difference. This one's more orange, which I've always considered a T-28 orange. They say red, but I think even the FMS one looks orange, although it's a darker orange than this. But we have similar. You can't see the fuselage except just under there is the fuselage. Of course, the rudder's here, wing here. This wing's right side up, so we can't see the landing gear. And then the transmitter's down on the bottom there. All the way down here is the transmitter, because this is the ready-to-fly version. And this was very cheap, guys, back in the day. I can't believe. Honestly, I think this was, if I remember right, this plane's like 6 or 7 years old, but I think it was $239, ready to fly. Came with a transmitter at $239 when I bought this. And I think even back then, the FMS T-28 was $279 for just a, plug-and-play airplane. So this was much cheaper. And the quality is very good. We're going to compare. That's what I'm doing. So we're going to compare the quality and see and then we're going to probably do builds. All right, so let's get my knife and start cutting tapes. Let's get the tapes off both boxes, so we can just start pulling things out and checking them out. Now I'm just going to toss this stuff on the floor to get it out of the way. I like to get rid of all the tapes, because if you don't, they end up getting stuck on part of the airplane, and usually it takes paint off. This really aggravates the hell out of me. So we're going to try to get the tapes off the box completely, so that we're not going to run into that. Actually, the trash can's over there, so we'll throw them over there. Pulling this wing out temporarily just to get this one was covering part of the fuselage. And that's actually encapsulating the rudder. So we're going to cut these tapes and get this out of the way. Okay, alright. Alright, so that takes care of that box. Alright. And I'm just going to, right now, just gently set the wing just back on top here, like this. So it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, now let's get the tapes on this one cut. Not as much foam packing in this one, but a lot of tape. Everything's taped in place, so it can't move. spin it around. I don't know what brand radio this is that comes with the, it just says the Airfield on it, I believe. Yeah, it's a 6-channel radio. It says Airfield on it. I have no idea who made that for them. It's a nice looking radio. The flaps are on a knob, the gear is on a switch, and everything else pretty regular. Your servo reversing's right here, and they tied a line plug to the back of it, and it holds 8 AA batteries in the bay here. So just get that out of the way because the FMS one doesn't come with a radio, so we're not going to review the radio. All right, so I think we're loose here. Everything's loose. We're loose enough. Okay. All right, so let's start off with the wings, because that wing's already out, and I just need to do a little untaping here to get this wing out. All right. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This piece of tape here is going to get caught on the airplane, and then it'll pull paint off if I don't get it out of the way. So that's why I'm going to get it out of the way. Okay. All right. So let's take a quick look here now. Let's compare the bottom, and they both happen to be the same wing, so that's good. So we got two left-hand wings, and we're going to look at the bottoms of them. So, all right, so right off the bat, you can see that this is a 1450, so it's a little longer, not much. This wing's a little longer than this one, but just, you know, maybe, I don't know, inch? Let me look. Yeah, about an inch, that's all, not a big deal. Both have nav lights, both have flaps and ailerons. Now this plane is the Airfield plane. It's at least 6 or 7 years old, at least. Could be even older than that. So back then, nobody was putting their control horns on. You had to do it. So there's a comparison right there we're going to talk about. This does not have the control horns on it or the control rods. This one does have the horns on, and they're glued in, not screwed in, but no rods. So neither one of them came with the rods, but at least these horns are glued in. These have to be screwed in, and they're not from the factory. Okay. The others actually pretty much the same. The doors look pretty close to the same, slightly different, but basically the same. The tapes that hold, hide the wires. They just do it different. The FMS one, they're at the leading edge, and on the Airfield one, they're at the trailing edge of the wing. But they still both have white tapes covering the wires, covering the servos. This does have the new, because this is a brand new FMS plane. This has the new pockets for the servos. And remember before they would just glue the servo into the foam. Now they actually glue a box in the foam, and then there's a pocket there that you can actually remove the servo without having to unglue it. So I do like that. That's a pretty nice upgrade, I think. I think that was a good idea to do that. I'm just going to touch up tape here because it's not sitting down right. So let me push that wire down in there a little better, and then put the tape on a little bit cleaner. There we go. I had it stretched and it was not laying down right. Okay, let's flip them over. Good detail on both of them. They both have a lot of panel lines. Very similar panel lines. Actually, they did. These are very, very similar. Almost identical. The panel lines on both of these are almost identical. That's amazing. The girth of the wing is a little bigger. Also, not only is this a little longer, this wing, but it's a little more girth to it as well. So it's a little wider wing and a little longer wing. But all the panel lines are almost identical. They did a really good job, both of them. The nav light is in the same place on both of them. They both have just harnesses coming out. This is all individual wiring, and I think the FMS one has of course, again, it's a newer airplane, so they've come a long way in 7 years. This has got the like the single plug, it looks like, to plug everything in. Yeah. So this is the one plug. Everything's plugged into like a multi-plug here, and then there's only one wire you have to plug in. And on the Airfield one, because it's 7 years old, you have to plug everything in individually. Okay, all right, so let's move on. I'm just going to move these off to the side here. Throw some place where they don't get damaged. Okay. So I'm not gonna review. I'm gonna look at them, but I'm not gonna review the second wing. We're just gonna look at it. Here's the horizontal stabilizer on the FMS plane. Again, the horn is installed, glued, but both have foam hinges, and the foam hinges need to be worked. They're very tight. This is very, very tight. Okay, let's get the Airfield one out. Yeah, and also pretty tight. Now both of these, well, they are a little different. They both have two screws that hold them to the airplane, so similar mounting, similar in size. Again, the Airfield one's slightly bigger, both in girth and length. The Airfield one's using the old steel rod bent at the bent in the ends here and then glued, and the FMS one's got a carbon fiber rod that just goes through it, and I'm sure it's glued to keep the two halves together, parallel. They look like they both have the same, I would assume. They both have the elevator control horn on the same side, on the right side, so that's interesting that they both use the same thing. And they both have the little counterweight or counterbalance on the end of the elevator. So they look very similar. Very, very similar. Okay, let's put those over here. I think the big difference we're going to see is the fuselage. Okay, so on the FMS one, there's two wing spars. These are the carbon fiber wing spars. There's two of them on these. We'll set those over here. I think there's only one wing spar here. Well, actually, there's two. That has to be. One's a long one and one's a short one. And the FMS ones are both the same size. There are control rods here. Again, this is an old airplane. They didn't pre-install them like they did on the FMS. Back in the day, I don't think they installed them on the FMS plane either, but they do now. Okay, so let me just do a quick. The other wing is on the bottom on the FMS plane. Here's a manual for the, and then here's the manual for the FMS. I really hate it when FMS folds the manual like this and puts it in box. I really hate this. I keep my manuals in very good condition, kind of like you guys that collect baseball cards. I usually leave them in the plastic bag or put it back in a bag. This didn't come in a bag and it was folded, and I don't like that, but not a big deal. not a detriment to the airplane. I don't consider that kind of stuff when reviewing an airplane. Just making a comment. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. The FMS prop you have to build. You got your 3 blades, the big paddle blades, and then the hub spinner, and the wing hold downs and control rods are all here. Okay. On the Airfield, same thing. Everything's boxed. It's the same kind of. The prop is the same kind of prop. It takes a hub, you know, just like the FMS. It's a 3 blades. You have to put the blades on individually. This came with an extra set of blades, so you get the pretty ones for display that have the you know, the red and white tips, and then they give you a set of black, just plain black, as a spare. So I generally, because of this, I will build the spare one and fly it on the spare. And they give you 2 hubs too, so you can build 2 full propellers, you know, ready to fly. So I'll fly it on the spare and save the pretty one for display or whatever. Go to a show where it might make a difference. Okay, again, I just like to get the tapes off so I don't accidentally get it stuck to the paint and tear the paint off. Okay, alright, so the Airfield one, let me just do a quick inspection of this wing. Now, something I didn't mention, I meant to. The Airfield wing does not have a landing light on it, the left wing, but the FMS does. I did not know that. I didn't remember that. So, and this tape's doing the same thing as the other one did. So let me just fix this tape real quick. Just checking it for damage. We're not going to review it. Just going to flex these a little bit and just make sure there's no damage on it. Looks good. But no landing light. Okay, so there's a difference there. The Airfield does not come with a landing light on either wing. The FMS has a landing light on the left wing. So make a note of that. Okay, so now we'll have to review this when I get the fuselage out because it's not attached. All right. So this has been in the box so long, guys. There's been critters living in the box. Not anything mammal, just bugs. You know, got all kinds of bugs to do in the box here. But the plane is not yellowed in any way. It looks perfect. The tapes have yellowed, but the plane is perfect. And the plane hasn't yellowed at all. Looks great. So that's good. There are drawbacks to buying a plane, guys. And then not flying it right away. You know, if there's a bad servo, something like that, plane's 7 years old, you've got no warranty. You know, if there was any damage on this, I wouldn't call this damage, but one of my air vents on the thing came off. Not a big deal. It's just glued on, but it's an open air vent. All right, let me get this off the table. I don't think we need this box anymore. No. All right, get rid of that. We'll put this. Let's get it out of the bag. Okay, we'll set that here. And I don't know if there's anything else in here. There's an Inspector 12. Okay, so let's get the fuselage out. And this is, they've got the, there we go. Okay. All right, so we'll put this over here. I still have to take the other wing out, so let me do that real quick. Let's set this down. Okay. All right, so let me get this wing out and we'll look at that and get rid of this box, because that's the only thing left in the box. I don't believe there's anything on the bottom of the box. Nope. Okay. All right, so we'll get rid of that. And quick review of the right wing of the FMS. No damage. Looks just as good as the other side. Same thing. The horns are installed. Rods are not. And all the panel lines. As far as the foam quality, I would give them both the same. They both look just as good foam quality. It's very dense, firm foam. I don't see any real difference in the quality of the foam. And I'll be honest with you, even the injection molds on these two planes are very similar. There are no mold marks on the. I'm just looking at the horizontals here for a second. There are no mold marks at all on the Airfield one. The FMS one does have some of those tiny little flowery looking mold marks, you know, scattered randomly all over the plane, but there are mold marks on this from FMS. But looks like they've got them all contained to the bottom. I don't see any on the top. So the top doesn't have any mold marks. The bottom does, but they're very small. There are no mold marks, top or bottom, on this one. Or if they, well, you know what? Actually, boy, they are so faint. They're there, but they're just so faint you can't even see them. And they're on top and bottom, but they're practically not there. I mean, you have to get them in the light to see them. You can't. If you look straight down at them, you can't see them. You really can't feel them. But if you get it in the light just right, you can see them. So there are mold marks on both of them, but the FMS ones doesn't have them on the top. So that's good. I like it when they do that, because we really don't look at the bottom of the airplanes much, guys. I mean, let's face it. You know, when it comes by in the air, you can't see anything. So they all look great in the air. Okay, so this looks good. I don't see any damage here. This decal's got some wrinkling in it. This is the FMS one again. And right through the middle of the star here is kind of all wrinkled up. I don't know if I can get that out with some heat or something, but not a big deal. Definitely not a deal breaker. Alright, so now we're going to just look at the fuselages. So this rudder is bigger. Not by a lot, but it's definitely noticeable that it's bigger. It's taller. And if I line this up, you can't see it in the camera really, but it's considerably taller. But not, I mean, and you know, I just noticed this. They're both Navy T-28. They both have the same bureau number on them and the same plane number, 706. So they're identical. All the decaling on them are identical. Even the bureau number in the back here, the CGKKD is on both, 138364 on both. They have the exact same T-28Bs. These are B model T-28s. So, all right, so the FMS one, and again, we're talking about 7 years newer. This one has a, well, no, it doesn't either. It's a foam hinge. It just looks like it's a submerged hinge, but it's not. It's a foam hinge. And the Airfield one is a foam hinge. Okay. I think the FMS is a lot heavier. Well, it's heavier. It's not a lot heavier, but it's heavier. Now, for you guys that used to are familiar with this airplane, there used to be two servos on the FMS one in the front here, and these cowl flap doors used to open and close from the radio. They did away with that. It doesn't do that anymore. And the Airfield one never did that. And I think I threw that plastic away with that one. Yeah, it's right here. The one that fell off. These are open, and they stay open. They're just that's just the way they're made. These don't come off, or they don't work. But they are plastic. They're not foam. And it's just glued on. So that just glues on like that. So let's look at the canopies. They both have magnetic canopies. Okay. Of course, it's a T-28, so it's got a huge battery bay. Okay. That's the FMS one. And then here's the Airfield one. Same thing. Battery magnetic. Same thing here. The Airfield one's slightly bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. It's a 1450, so slightly bigger. Just slightly, not a big deal. They both have pilots. The FMS pilot's definitely not only a better pilot, and I did. If you guys watch, I used this airplane to do a pilot relocate and change. So if you go look up my video on changing the pilot and your canopy, where I cut a hole in the bottom here using a 45 angle so it dropped right in. And I put a different pilot in it and I moved him back. Because this pilot not only is a World War II pilot with a leather headgear, not a hard helmet like this guy. This guy's got a hard helmet on. But it's also, the guy's so close to the instrument panel, his nose is almost hitting it. I mean, he's right against the instrument panel. So I moved him back. I changed the pilot, moved him back, and elevated him because he could barely see over the instrument panel. So so go check out that video. I'll have the link in the description here. But if you want to go watch that, I did a real nice how to change your pilot. Okay, so here's the inside of the Airfield one. The receiver's already installed. There's another box next to the receiver. I believe that's for the landing gear. Let me look here and see what it says. It's been a long time since I've played with this airplane, so I don't remember. I think that's the that's the landing gear sequencer. The second box here that's next to the, and I know it's hard to see on camera, but there's the receivers here and the sequencers here. They're sitting side by side. I don't know 1 amp. Can I read that in there? Let me get one of my brand new handy flashlights out. This comes with a 60 amp ESC. And this one in the FMS, let's see what it is. 80 amp. So they got an 80 ampere in the FMS plane, and a 60 amp in the Airfield plane. This is a hard plastic cowl with a fake engine in it. And this is a foam cowl. This is all foam all the way to the front with a fake engine in it. I think this engine looks a little better personally. But yeah, I do like the plastic cowl, although we all know that these cowls fade over time more than the foam, and then it doesn't look right. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Of course, this comes with an EC5 connector, and this has got the old banana I think these are the 3mm banana plugs that nobody uses anymore. Well, I think Red Cat still uses them, but yeah, not a standard thing. Now the propellers, getting back to them for a second, the FMS does not have all the logo, prop information on it, but the one set that came from the Airfield does. It has all that information on it here, on each blade, and then you also get a second blade. You get a second set of props, but they don't have anything on the second set. You're just but they give you a second prop, so that's nice. And like I said, the reason I'm reviewing this, guys, even though it's 7 years old, is that these molds are still available. HSD has these molds. This plane could be made again. They could redo this plane. They have the molds. They can do it. And if you go watch their introduction video, they show that plane sitting on a pedestal. So they do they do promote it, that they have it. They're just not it's not currently in process of making for some reason. Like I said, all they want to do right now is make jets. They don't want to build prop planes. All right, so overall, my feelings on them, they're both very nice airplanes. The detail on both of them are very good. I'm kind of upset with FMS that they cheapened up and took the working cowl flaps off of theirs. I thought that was a really, that was one of the scale features I liked about this airplane that they took away. So I'm not real happy with that, I got to be honest. I wish they'd left that still on there. I do like the fact that the Airfield cowl flaps are in the open position, not closed. I think that looks better. Just to have that, the vent. Now I want to change cameras for a second just to show you how close in color they don't look as bad as it looks on camera. This other camera doesn't show the color difference as much. They look closer in color on this camera. I don't think either one are accurate. I think it's somewhere in between. There's a noticeable difference in color, but it's not as great a difference as this. This is way too yellow. It's a darker orange than this, but this is kind of a red, more of a red, and this kind of looks yellowed as well in this camera, but this is kind of red. So this is a red and this is a dark orange. So this camera makes them both look pretty red, but this one's definitely more orange. This is pretty close here. That red is pretty close, but this is more orange than red. This camera's making that look a little too red. So I would say the difference in color are somewhere in between the two cameras. Neither one of them is accurate. We've got a wooden battery tray in here that's forward. The battery tray in this one's back farther. That's interesting. I don't know how the CG would work out on that. But yeah, the battery is way back here past the orange line here on the side of the fuselage. Okay, so the battery goes from here back to about here is where the battery goes in this plane. And on this one, the battery is all the way up to the cowl flap here and only goes back to here. So the battery is much farther forward in this plane. And they both have full gear doors covering the nose gear. And they're very similar in size. Actually, the gear doors are bigger on the FMS plane. But they're full doors on both of them. On the retract. They both have exhaust. This one's chrome, shiny, silver. This one's black. I've never seen a T-28 with silver. I'm not picking on FMS. I'm just saying that this is not paint, guys. This is supposed to represent exhaust gases burnt on the side of the airplane. And they all do that. Everybody, paints their plane to look like that. But these would be black too, which these are. They wouldn't be shiny silver and then have that black. Plain. If this was shiny silver, this wouldn't be here. So anyway, not a big deal. Just pointing out fun facts. That's all. So that's it, pretty much, guys. I think I see a problem with the FMS one already. Oh no, it's not. Oh wow, that's really weird. Wow, the catch is not a magnet on the back of the FMS one. It's a plastic pincher type thing, but it's embedded way down inside the foam. I mean, you couldn't get to that to replace it if you wanted to. You'd be really tearing up a lot of foam. But it's a positive click. It's buried so deep in the foam. That's crazy. I didn't notice that before. This is just a magnet. It's got a big magnet in the back. They're both tongue and groove with the front. But that one clicks on pretty hard too. That magnet's got a hold of it. So both are great. There's no issue with either one of those systems. They both work perfect. And then, of course, if we put the rudder on this one to get a full effect, this slides down in between, or the horizontal goes between it, and then that goes on like this. Okay, and again, the color difference on my cameras. Like I said, it's somewhere in between. It's not quite as red as it looks here, but it's not near as light orange, almost yellow as it shows here. It's nowhere near that white. So anyway, okay. All right, I guess that's going to do it for the unboxing. Next will be the build. Going to build them both. And then we'll do a flight review as well. So let's. I think we'll start with the FMS one. We'll build that one first, and then we'll go from there. So stand by. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're gonna go over a few things real quick. I read the manual quickly to see what if there anything I needed to know. Nothing out of the ordinary. They talk about the lengths of these screws. I think they're off quite a bit on they've changed it, but they didn't change the wording and it's not Chinglish, it's English. It's good. They're saying these are 65 millimeter, and you need 4 of those. They give you 5, 1 extra, but these are longer than. I think these are longer than 65. And then these are supposed to be 40 millimeter for the. And I didn't know this. I just found this out, that this comes off just like on the. So it's built the exact same way the Airfield one is. This comes off. Okay, to install your. So it's exactly the same way as the Airfield one. They both install the same way. So regardless of the length, we've got 5 long ones that go to hold the wing on. Get 1 extra, you only need 4. And then we have 5 of the shorter ones that are all the same size. The instructions say that the back of the elevator, or the back rudder one, is supposed to be a 30 millimeter, but they went ahead and gave us all the same size. I'm assuming these are 40, but they could be. They're all 5 of them are the same size, so you didn't get a 10 millimeter shorter one. I guess later on they figured they didn't need to shorten it, so they just gave you. Well, so don't worry about what the manual says. It's not that big a deal. You have 5 control linkages that are exactly the same length, and that's for the ailerons, the flaps, and the rudder. And then you have one that's longer. That's your elevator. That's one's longer. You got your 2 wing spars, and then you have your 2 wing hold downs, and these are identical. The best I can tell, there's not markings on them, so they're identical, and they can go in either way. You can put them in this way or this way. They're completely symmetrical. and you can put them front to back, back to front, doesn't matter. And every way I can tell, they're identical. There's no markings on either one of them, and they look to be perfectly symmetrical. So no surprises there that I can tell. Okay, so that's all, and that's all there is to it, guys. There are screws to put the prop together. They both do that. Same thing. The screws for the prop are in the bag with the prop hub, so they're not part of this initial package. And I'll do this off camera. So it says to start with the horizontal, so that's what we're going to do. So this gets put on here this way, and then there's 2 screws that go down through the top. And I need my special install tool with the, bet it's the 2, it's FMS. It's got to be a 2 millimeter X, I'm sure. Like I said, this plane's new, so we're not working old school here. This is brand new. So yeah, let's put that 2 millimeter bit in here, and we're going to grab 2 of the shorter. These 5, again, one's going to be a spare. These 5 are the shorter ones, and I need all 4 of these. 2 to hold the horizontal down, and then 2 to hold the rudder up. So let's put these 2 in here like this. There's a plastic reinforcement in here to hold the horizontal on. It's a plastic, I'm going to call it a washer for lack of a better word. It reinforces the area where this locks in. And then on the Airfield one, it's a wooden washer, not plastic. This one's plastic, that one's wood. Again, identical. They both have a light here, and they both have a light on the bottom. You know, so they're pretty much identical. The only light difference I see at all is the Airfield one did not come with a landing light on the wing. The FMS did. So I'm going to give FMS the nod on that. I definitely think it should have had a landing light on it, but I don't see it on the Airfield one. If that changes, I'll let you know. But right now, as far as quality overall, they're very close. They're both very good quality. There's better decals on I think on the Airfield one. Well, not really. I take that back. They both have the rescue on this side. They're pretty much identical in decal. Size is a little different. I don't know which one's better. But yeah, so because they put a landing light on the FMS one, and they didn't on the Airfield, I'm going to give FMS the nod so far on quality. You know, not flyability, quality. Now, I'll be honest with you. I know how that one flies, and it's fantastic. I've flown one of these. I didn't care for it, but like I said, it was somebody else's plane, and who knows what they did to it. So we're not gonna do a final review on that until I fly this one. I guess that's tight. I'm the king of over tightening something, guys. I tighten it down till it breaks, and then I back it off a half a turn. So I'm trying not to do that. What happens on this kind of setup is I'll pull that plastic washer all the way through the foam until it's completely come out to this side. Okay, that looks like it's on tight. Okay, so now the rudder goes on over top of this. The vertical vertical stabilizer and rudder. And same, they're both the same. They both have these big foam lining blocks to align it where it needs to be. There are some wires in the way here on the FMS. Let me make sure they're not going to be in the way here. They have a little cavity that the wires go down in, but they weren't in that cavity, so I just put them in to make sure. Because the last thing you want to do is push this in and have the wires pinched between the foam, which will not allow it to go all the way on, and then you'll be scratching your head and pissed off that it doesn't fit. So make sure you check your wires, make sure they're out of the way. And you push this down in there like that, and it went down flush. That looks good. The back is not flushing up though. All right, let me pull it back off to check and see if there's something in the way there. I didn't see anything, but it definitely doesn't seem to want to go on all the way. So let's see if there's something back here in the way. I don't see anything. Interesting. There's a little bit of dirt on this for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why that foam's dirty. It's not me. I washed my hands before I came out here, so I know I'm not putting dirty handprints on it. So, but this corner edge of the foam here is dirty. No big deal. It'll clean up. I'm just making observations, telling you what I see, guys. That's all. Not a complaint. Just an observation. All right. So that is not pulling down all the way. I don't know why. I'm not too happy about this. And I don't know, it's not pulling down onto the... Alright, let's pull it up, check one more thing. Is there anything down in here? Yeah. I'm going to shave a little bit foam off of this one here because it seems like this is what's holding me up. So where's my cutting? My box cutter, there it is. Let me grab this real quick. I'm just going to shave off a tiny bit of this center block. There's no screw going through this, it's just an alignment. So shaving off 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch is not going to hurt a thing. I'm just concerned that this might be what's holding me up. So I'm going to trim off a little bit of it. Okay. Alright, now let's see if that fits in there. That was it. Yep. Now it pulled down. Okay. So note to you guys that if that middle, if it doesn't pull down all the way, it's that this little middle piece here was just a hair too long. Don't know why that would have come out like that. It's kind of weird. But yeah, this one was just a little too long, so I shaved a little bit of it off. And now it went all the way down. The back is still just slightly out, but it'll pull down. Before, I had a gap here between the rudder and that's what made me think it was the middle one. And after I shaved it, it went right all the way down. So that must have been it. All right. So now we need 2 more of these short of the 2 sets. And they go in from the bottom. So I'm going to just turn this thing over on its side like this. And put these in here through the bottom. Now, you've heard me tell you that before. I'll tell you again. Make sure you get them both started before you start tightening anything up. Because if you don't get them lined up now, it might be a problem later. So get them both started and then start tightening them up. Yeah, that pulled right up tight. Beautiful. Very nice. All right. Yep. That little shaving off that little bit in the middle was exactly what it needed, because that pulled up perfect. Very nice and tight. Everything looks good here. Got a little bit of an overhang on this side for some reason. I don't know why. No big deal. Just making an observation, not a complaint. Just letting you know what I see. Everything looks straight. Yep, looks good. Okay. Alright, and I'm working these hinges. These are all foam hinges. Both airplanes have full foam hinges, so make sure you work these hinges, guys. You don't want your servo to do the work. You want these nice and free before you put a servo to it. So, just keep working them back and forth. Get them loosened up. And that way your servo doesn't have to work that hard. Okay. All right. So next is the wing. So let me grab the wings here. Now, again, FMS put this, and they've been doing this for a long time. They have this junction block that they put in the wing. So everything is plugged into the junction block, and then you just have one wire. There's, I think, 6 pins. Let me look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 pins coming out of this one plug that takes care of everything. Because the block your power and your ground are all common in the block. So now all you have to change is you need a wire for the signal for your flap, your aileron, and your landing gear. So that's the extra 3, plus the positive and negatives, 2 more. That's 5. They're using all 6. So I don't know what the 6th wire would be used for. Maybe an extra ground, maybe an extra power, maybe a separate power. I don't know. But you got your 3 signal wires. So you got your flap, aileron, and gear, and then the light. Maybe the 5th one is the light. Maybe they're common grounds, and then the power to the light might be the 6th. So, but so you don't have to worry about any of that. This whole glob of wire and everything just sits inside the plane here. You just need to make sure that the one plug is all you need to get through the top of the wing. Everything else can be tucked back in this little cavity here. And I'm going to try to tuck some of it down inside the wing here, just to try to minimize the amount of wires I'm fighting into the plane. So since there's a big cavity right here next to where this all came out, I'm going to tuck some of these wires in there. I have a feeling this is going to turn into a little bit of a fight. Trying to put this wing on. Well, I got him down in there. I guess, we'll see. All right, so I separated that one wire out. and then try to tuck the rest of them down back inside the reliefs here as much as I can, because I'm certain when I put the wings together that's going to touch. Okay, since these two are the exact same length, you just put them in the holes. Don't matter which one goes where; they're the exact same. And let me move this. Grab the other wing half. Gonna do the same thing over here. Separate out the one wire, tuck the rest back inside the wing. All right, let's see what. That's interesting. I'm gonna change that. I bet this side's right. Let me see what that looks like. Oh wow, yeah, this side's right, that side's wrong. Okay. All right, so what I'm talking about, just a little heads up. So this big block here, and all these wires. This wire comes out of the very back, closest to the outside of the wing here. Where not near the center, but out, and it comes straight up, and that's the way it needs to be. On this one, they've got it tucked under all this wiring, and it's coming out of here. That's not going to work for you, because on the plane, there's only two little tiny holes, just big enough. I don't even know if it's big enough for that plug to go through. It goes straight up into the fuselage. So it has to be in this configuration, where it's out here going straight up out of the block, not fed down through the side here to come out the middle. That's not how you want it. So just to save you some time, make sure you tuck all these wires that aren't, that are kind of in the way, and make sure your one lead is coming straight out the top of the block. That's going to be the correct way to install this. All right, let me fix this one. I'm used to it coming out to the middle, and that's generally how it goes, but not on this point. Yeah, so they had the wires all wrapped up wrong on this one. Holy mackerel. Okay, so now we can start tucking the wires back inside the wing here. The cavity, there's a big open cavity in the wing. There's plenty of room to tuck the wires down into the wing. Just take your time and make sure you get them tucked down in there to get them out of the way. Because you don't want to put the wing on and then have these wires get pinched between the foam and stopping the wing from seating correctly. That's not going to work well. You want to make sure it seats good. So now that the wing is off, it's really easy to tuck all these wires into the cavities that they provide, so that they're not in the way, and they won't be in the way when you go to put the wing on. Okay. All right. So that's all it is. It's just a little tuck job here. It's not a big deal. And then that wire's coming straight out the top. Okay. All right. So let's put the two wing halves together. It's always a little bit of a challenge to get these two rods started. Usually once you get them started, they go together pretty easy. But it's always a little challenge to get them started. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right, so that worked out beautiful. So they went right together completely. The wires are not interfering at all, and they're not sticking up here either, so they shouldn't interfere once I stick them through the wing, through the fuselage. All right, so there you go. All right, so I'm going to pause the video for a second because I'm going to go get I have an FMS plane stand that I'm going to put the plane in right here so that I can flip this upside down and feed this in. So let me pause this for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and since I'm reviewing this FMS plane, I want to also review the FMS plane stand. Guys, this is a wonderful plane stand. I'll tell you the big difference that I really like about this stand is the fact that you have this cup area in the middle, but you have these big flat areas out here on the end. That comes in so handy because sometimes your plane's too long. Now this is adjustable, but if in fact the plane doesn't have a belly, maybe it's a flat bottom, like one that comes to mind would be like the F-22. It's pretty much a big flat fuselage. It will sit on that flat part. These flat edges here, the plane will sit down on that beautifully. And if it has that belly to it, the belly will fit down in here. The flat parts fit out here. It's a wonderful plane stand. It really is. I got to tell you, I've got two of them, and I got one more coming. I really like these stands. So I figure I'll give FMS a little plug on their stand. It's a nice design. I really like it. I didn't think that much of it at first. I mean, I didn't think it was that big a deal. It's a stand, okay, whatever. But after getting one and enjoying it as much as I do, it was worth. I definitely like it. So I ordered another one, and I'm getting ready to order another one because I have so many points at FMS. I have enough to get another. I get my stands for free because when you spend enough money with them, you get points, and then the points turn into free plane stands. So I haven't paid for a plane stand yet. I keep getting them free, and I just got enough points with this purchase to get another one. So I'm going to get another plane stand. Okay, so here's where, like I said, those coming straight out. There's only two small little holes in the fuselage, right on one on each side. There's one little hole on each side like this, and those plugs go down into those holes. That's why it's so important to make sure you have those holes, have those wires coming straight up out of the wing, so they can go straight down into the fuselage, and not in toward the center. If they go in toward the center, it'll be nothing but a fight. You got to get them coming straight down. Straight up out of the wing, so they go straight down into the fuselage. This is still going to be a little bit of a fight, but okay. Now maybe I'm wrong because this doesn't look right either. Yeah, that's not going to sit there. So those two holes that I thought were where the wires go are not where they go. They can't go down through there. That's not going to work. They do have to go to the middle. But I don't think. I think that'll still work. I think they'll fold down. Okay, on top. We're going to fold down on top anyway. But now they're going to fold down. See, this is kind of bad too because this is going to go right into the battery tray. Boy, I don't like this design at all, guys. They really did not do a good job here. This is not well done, thought out at all. If you go down through, you can't go through the middle because it goes right into the battery tray, which is going to be in the way. I guess I can feed them down to the back side of the battery tray, but I still think these wires are going to be in the way. They really need to come out over here, but there's no relief in the foam for you to do that. I could cut a relief, but, yeah, boy, that's horribly done. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna try sending to the battery bay for now. Flip it over and see how it looks, and then and if that doesn't work, we're gonna have to cut foam and go the other way. But I can't see it working the other way right now. But I'm not happy with this at all. This was not well thought out at all. All right, so let's get this to see if it sits flat. It goes all the way down in okay. It appears to. It seems like it's okay. Okay. All right. So let's put these in again. I think they only go in. You know, you can put them in any way you want. I don't think there's a front, back, left, right, upside down, right side. Well, upside down, but you know, I don't think it makes any difference. Yeah, they're just totally symmetrical, as far as I can tell. It doesn't seem to make any difference which way to go. All right, so take 4 of your super long screws and put them in here. Okay, I think they're all down in there. So now again, this is where it's crucial, guys. Make sure you get them all started before you start tightening anything down. Because these will be the ones that will be a pain in the butt. All right, I think they're all started. Yep, that one's going down. Yep, that one's going down. Uh-oh. I don't think that one started. Now, I haven't tightened anything. I got that to start snugging up. But I don't think this one, maybe it's in one. I think it just went. Yeah, it's going now. All right, good. Okay, so they're all going down. Get them all tightened up here a little bit. I'm only going to tighten them till they flush up. Okay. Anything in the back. Okay. All right, so that's going to do it. I'm going to move all these out of the way here. Move the instructions over here. Move my drink over here. All right, so let me flip this back over, put it on the table, and we'll open the canopy and see how those wires look. And if I think I'm going to like it there. I don't think I am, but we'll see. Okay, they will work where I put them. Okay, all right, so they're going to work right there. They're right here. They come out right in the back of the battery tray, and they plug right into the plug. The board is right there, so that's going to work okay. All right, so it wasn't as critical as I thought it was going to be. I don't know what those holes in the fuselage are for. You know, they've got the holes in the fuselage sitting there like that. Those wires have to go up through those, but they don't. So I don't know why that's there. There's a wire taped to the side over here. I didn't like the way they taped it, so I'm going to just retape it here. Try to keep it out of the way. I don't know why it's like that, but whatever. Okay. so it doesn't matter which side goes where. The two plugs go in exactly the same way, and they're identical, so it doesn't matter. There is no left and right on these plugs. You just plug them in. So I'll plug this one in here. That. I'm going to plug this one in next to it over here. And there you go. So you're going to wonder why wouldn't it matter which side they go in? I know one of you out there is asking that question. Why would it make no difference? I'll tell you why. Because the only thing that's different, the flaps are moving the same direction no matter which way you plug them in, and the gears move in the same direction, and the lights are lights. So the only thing that could possibly be the issue is the aileron, if it was the left and the right. And the reason that that's not an issue is because the aileron servos are mounted opposite, like this. So they're going to work this way. Just if the plane was upside down, they still work this way. It doesn't make any difference. So, you know, that's the one thing that doesn't matter. So you don't have to worry that you got the left plug from the left wing and the left side, or the right and the right. It doesn't make any difference. All right. So that's it for the build, guys. Now I know I got to put the control horn. I got to hook up the control horns and put a receiver in it and drop the gear, and I will do all that. But I'm going to do it off camera. Because there's nothing for me to teach you or see how it works. You know, these are all ball links, by the way. I don't believe there's ball links on the Airfield one, but we'll get to that in a minute. But this is all ball links and Z-bends on all these control rods. So you just slide them in the servo, flip them over, and snap them on the ball. Obviously, you want to put a servo in it, get all your servos centered, especially because all the servo arms here are all pushed down into the wing flush so that they don't do any damage in shipping. So you definitely have to turn the radio on and drop, so these will center and then they'll come down out of the wing, and then you can hook them up. So you've got to put a receiver in it first and get it set up, and then you can hook up your control rods and center them. So I'm going to do all that next off camera. And then we'll get back to it. So stand by. Be right back. Okay. All right. So now let's get started on the Airfield T-28. First thing I want to show you is the worst instructions. Maybe not the very worst. I think maybe LX models has worse instructions. But what you get is a book on LiPo battery care. Okay. And then you get this fold out with just pictures of how to put it together. So if you're new to the hobby, you wouldn't want to be stuck with this. This is a pretty. I mean, it's fine for somebody that knows what to expect and what to build, but in general, this is terrible. If you're new to the hobby, this would be horrible to try to follow to put the airplane together. So I'm not going to give Airfield any credit for their documentation. It's terrible. Them and LX models both have got some pretty horrible directions. It's not hard for a modeler that's been in it for 51 years, like me. You understand what you have to do, but if you're new to the hobby, it'd be terrible. So, okay, so the first thing we're going to do, let's go through the bags real quick. I'm not going to put the control horns on camera because it takes too long. I don't want this video to be a week long. But like I had told on other videos, you can tell by the length of the screws. The horns are all the same size. But you can tell by the length of the screws what part of the airplane it goes into. Okay, so you just got to kind of look at, all the different size control horns. And then by doing that, you can tell, you know, where they're going to go. It looks like we got the same thing here. They're very similar looking to FMS, but there is a bigger one and a littler one. Same you know, oval shaped, you know, and 2 screws, but this is a smaller one. So there's going to be a front and a rear here. They look symmetrical, so I don't think there's a, you know, forward and backward. I don't see any arrows pointed on it. But you'll know when you put it on, if it's, you know, cocked, then you turn it around and see if that fixes it. So pretty simple procedure there. But so you get all these. Each bag is going to be for a different component. Okay. So one of these is going to be for this is probably, my guess, this is the control horn for the rudder, because the rudder is usually the thickest piece on the plane. So this is probably the control horn for the rudder. And these are probably the 2 screws that hold the rudder on. So that's what I would guess there. This, we've got a pair. So this is either probably flaps or ailerons. The screws are very short, so the wing is thinner at the out. So I would have guessed this is my aileron bag. Okay, and then this one has got 2 in it, and these screws are longer. So this is probably my flap bag. Okay, and then this one here is got super long. So this one could be the elevator. Well, and basically we have to, the rudder and elevator are going to be so one of them has longer screws than the other. Okay, and then one of them has 1 long screw, 1 short screw. So that tells me right off the bat, since the elevator, they're both in the same place, there's no, you know, offset, and I'm sure there's an offset here. Let me pull this back off. Wow, that doesn't want to come back off. Ugh. I don't want to break it. Wow. It's coming, but boy, it's tight. Okay. All right. So here we have, if you look here, okay, the distance between here and here, okay, this one's got to be a longer screw, and this is the shorter screw. And I'm sure that's what the instructions are going to show. So this bag here that has the 1 long and 1 shorter, this has got to be the bag for the vertical, and the one that has the 2 exactly the same length has to be horizontal. Okay, so that easy to figure out which one goes where. They're not marked, but obviously this is the vertical because it's got 1 long, 1 short. These 2 are exactly the same length, and this is the exact same thickness here and here. So that's got to be the same. And then here, like I said, there's short screws and then there's longer screws. The longer screws have to be for the flaps because the flaps are inboard of the airplane and the wing gets thicker as it gets closer to the fuselage. It gets thinner out on the end. So the short screws are going to be your ailerons and the longer screws are your flaps. So that's how you determine what goes where when the bags aren't marked. It's pretty simple if you just give yourself a minute to think about it, you know, what goes where, okay? So that takes care of that. I don't think yeah, and the same thing here, because I'm going to take these big screws out to mount them, but I'm not going to put the horns on camera because it just takes too long. I'm going to run out of time here. But yeah, the rudder screws are super long because the rudder is super thick here. You know, the girth of the rudder here is very thick. Okay, and then the elevators, not so much. So the elevator screws, you know, these are the rudder screws and the screws that hold the control horn on are very long. And this is the elevator screws, which are the very long ones that hold the elevator, horizontal on. But the screws that hold the control horns on are pretty short. So that's how that's going to work. All right. So let's go ahead and bolt this on first. Checking for wires, anything in the way. We've already had the rudder on, and we know that fits down in the hole okay. So this has to go back here like this. And we're going to use these two big long screws. And I believe, actually I think this is a Phillips or a hex head. Let me look. No, it's a, yeah, it's got to be a Phillips. And I don't think I have a big Phillips. Oh yeah, wait a minute, yeah I do, right here. This should work. Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right, so these go straight down through here. And like I said before, the FMS had plastic inserts. This one's got wood. But it's a reinforcement, so you're not screwing straight into foam. This would be real easy to just crush the foam. The head of the screw would just go right through the foam. So you wouldn't want that. So I see that they didn't poke the hole through the foam here, which is kind of odd. Never seen that before. There it goes. There's a tiny piece of foam up there that they didn't go all the way through. But it pushed right through. Okay. All right. So now we're going to put this down here like this. There's a square, big square here that inserts a big square here. So you can't get it on wrong. It's pretty self-explanatory how it goes on. So you just set that up there like that. And then push your screws down in. Again, get them both started before you start tightening anything up. You want to make sure you get them started, because once you tighten one up, if you're not aligned on the other one, it's a fight to get them to line up. So make sure you get them both started first. Now these don't look like, they look like machine screws, but they're not threading in. So what could be the problem here is there could be glue in the threads. And when they glue the nut into the foam, they might have got glue in the threads. And that turns this into a fight. Sometimes. And the way I'm going to check it is I'm going to switch the screws. While I'm still here, because this one's threading in okay. So let's switch the screws and see if there's a problem with the screw, or is the problem the nut in the airplane. So let's pull this one back out. Let's pull this one back out. And let's try it in here. Let's see if this one threads in here. Okay, so that's threading in there. Okay, so obviously there's got to be some glue in the screw and the nut. So what you have to do in this one is you go back and forth to cut threads through the glue. You got to just sit here and work it. It's a pain in the butt, I know, but that's the only way to do it. If you have a tap that's the right size, you could always run a tap through it, because the tap will definitely cut the glue out of the threads. But if you don't want to go to the trouble of doing that, this will work, but you've got to just take your time. You know, give yourself a little time to, And every time you back it out, you're recutting threads through that glue. So back it out, put it back in, back it out again, put it back in again. Just keep working it, and you'll get it. It will go. It will go. It will take a little bit of fooling around, but you'll get it. So this one's going right in. There's no glue in this. There's no glue in these threads. And it's pretty common. I run into this problem often. It's a pretty common problem when you buy a plane and you start putting it together, and you run into screws that don't want to go. Now these, on this particular plane, are not that critical because this is really going to hold it on. So once you get these in, you know, they're secure, and then you're going to secure it again with this. So there's no way that the horizontal on this plane can come off. Now the way it's again really easy to over tighten these. So once I see the little wood discs start to pull down into the foam, I stop, because you don't want to just keep crushing the foam. All right, so that's the elevator's in, horizontal stabilizer. Now we're going to push the vertical in. And then we're going to put the screws for that in. Like I said, one's longer than the other. And the shorter one was in the back, I believe. If I remember right. I think this is the shorter one. And roll this on its side again. All right. That felt like it threaded. Let's get this one in. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. So those tightened right up good. Very nice. Okay, so there's the horizontal and vertical around. I'm going to save my control horns for later, just because of time constraints. I know it's going to take too long to fool with that, and I know you don't want to watch that, so we'll fix that later. They were already done on the FMS plane, so I didn't have to do that. But on this one, I have to do it. So I'm going to do them off camera. All right, so here's my push rods for the, again, this plane's, 7 years old at least. I'm pretty sure it's 6 or 7 at least. So back then, everybody still put the servos up in the cabin with long push rods going all the way to the back. They didn't start doing the servos, back in the tail of the airplane till later on. At least after this plane was made. So that's how old this plane is. So these two are the elevator and rudder push rods that have to go through push rod tubes that are already in the fuselage. So, and we'll do that later as well. Okay, let me get the wings. Now here's where I could probably stand and look at the instructions for a second to see where the long tube goes and the short, because these are different. We've got a short one and a long one. And I could probably figure it out just by shoving them into the wing, and one's going to stop short of the other. But let me just see what the instructions show me here as far as putting those in, if it shows me. Very, very poor pictures, guys. Very, very, yeah, this is really bad. I don't know what they're thinking when they put an instruction sheet out like this, like you're really supposed to figure out what the hell they're doing. You know, and the only verbiage you get is install the linkage connectors. Well, that was helpful. Thank you. Yeah. Connect the linkage connecting rod. You know, I mean, this isn't helpful. Connect the Y cable between the main wings. Okay. I don't think they gave me a Y connector, so I hope it's already on the wing, because they didn't give me a Y connector. All right, let's move on here. Let me look at the wings and see if they show. No, they don't show. Just says insert the support rods into the right main wing. Yeah, but it doesn't say which one goes where. So you just have to figure it out. So typical. It's one thing about Airfield that I didn't like was these crappy directions, but the airplanes are fantastic. It's a shame they can't make a nice. It's not Chinglish though. It's good English. It just ain't much of it. You know, very short little descriptions that don't do anything. They really don't tell you much. All right, let me grab my wings. And we're going to test fit the rods, see which one goes where. Okay, that didn't go in very far, so I'm getting that's probably the short one. Yep. Okay, so now we know. Short one goes in the back, long one goes in the front. Okay. All right. And it does look like there might be a Y connector here. Yeah, right here we got a Y. Actually, no, I don't think we do. Is there a Y connector over here? Got a big storm rolling in, guys. That's why I'm kind of rushing this a little bit, because once the storm starts, you're not going to be able to hear me. So what we got here? Gear? Yeah. All right, so the gear wire's separate, and everything else is here. Okay. All right. Let me get the tapes off of here. They got the wires taped together with masking tape. That's real quality there too. Again, I don't, you know, I'm just describing. It's not a complaint. You know, it works. You know, tape's tape. Who cares? You know, just giving you a heads up though that that's what they're using. I do not see a Y connector here either. So I might have to supply my own Y connector unless they've done something else. The Y connector might be in the fuselage because everything was already plugged into the receiver. So maybe the Y connector I need is in the. It might be already in the fuselage, plugged into the receiver. So let's slide this together. Okay. Now, the wires have to come up to the top of the wing. So you got to pull all these wires through here. They're all on the bottom of the wing, but you need to bring them all the way up to the top. And there's a groove in the foam for the wires to run up through. So it's not like you're going to pinch in between the wings. They did provide you with a very nice groove to send the wires up through. And then there's the single wire for the retract, but it has its own groove. So just pull all the wires up through the grooves, get them down, seated in the grooves, and then slide your wing halves together. Because all the wires have to be on top. You can't have any wires sticking out the bottom. And you definitely want to make sure nothing's out of the groove, because it'll just keep the wing from coming together. Okay, we're almost there now. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, good. All right, none of the wires are trapped between the foam, so the wings are completely together now, and the wires are in the little grooves, just like that. So you see that there's a groove on each side, which makes a square, where the wires and all the wires are coming through the squares now. So that's good. All right. Now these tapes that were kind of off before are kind of just hanging here loose. We'll just push them down. They're fine. All right. So let's grab those wing connectors. Now you can see here. All right. If I get it the light right. This is the big one, and this is the little one. And like I said, we have a big one and a little one. So we know where those go now. We know the big one goes in the back, the little one goes in the front. So simple enough. So let me put my control horns over here, my other control horns over here, and let's get this mounted to the wing. I'm going to go ahead, let's flip the fuselage over and put it in the plane stand right here. Just like this. All right. So we have one big hole in the bottom here for the wires to go through. So we're just going to send all the wires down through the hole, and everything will be. I can plug everything in from the top side. So let's just send them all down in here like this. And it just makes it easier. If you can get the wires down in the hole as far as you can get them, it just makes it easier in the end than trying to pull them. And after you secure the wing, trying to pull the wires up. If you got a wire pinched, you'll know. So you're better off to get them down in the hole as best you can, so you don't get them pinched. So just get them down in there. Keep shoving them in there all the way down, as far as you can get them. One wire doesn't want to go down in there. Oh, alright, I think I got it. Yeah, that was pretty good. Alright, so let's get the wing down like that. That's a big one in the back. That's the small one. Small one in the front. Test fit it. Make sure, does it fit that way? Does it fit this way? It goes same both ways. Doesn't matter. Okay, and then the big one in the back. Work your control surfaces. Make sure that they're free. You don't want to. You don't want to make the servo do all that work. So the back screws are the longer ones, but you don't have to worry about that because they were in with the correct plastic insert. So you don't have to figure out which one went where because they figured that out for you. They put them in the bag with them. All right, so let's see if we can get these to thread in. I think those both went. Make sure these go. All right, I think they're all threading, so we can start tightening them up. Don't over tighten, guys. It's real easy to do. I'm the master of it. Trust me. Just get them till the foam, till it's flush with the foam. That's good enough. Because you can keep going, it'll just keep crushing. Okay, that'll do it. All right. Let's flip it over and put it back on the table. This plane is definitely lighter than the other. All right. So everything, let me just plug the gear in and drop the gear so we can get it on its wheels. And we'll go from there. I'm going to have to go get some AA batteries. So we'll stop the video here in a minute. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to stop the video right now. I'm going to drop the gear, build the prop. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So I've got the FMS plane all together. Of course, you know, my luck. If there's going to be something defective, you know I'm going to get it. So plug the ESC in and a big puff of smoke come out of it. And it burnt a little hole right here in the back of it. Let me show you that. I'm going to come up to the camera and show you that. Yeah, it was as soon as I plugged it in, just poof. So it's a 80 amp ESC Predator from FMS. And on the back here, you see that little burn hole there. It just burnt, and let all the magic smoke out. So yeah. So I had to put another one in. Of course, I've been in this hobby long enough to have spare stuff around. So I put another brand ESC in it. I'll have to call FMS, see if I can get a warranty on this. But in the meantime, the one that's in there will work. So, all right. So that's all I got on that. Let me let's get to the final on both planes. So be right back. Okay, so here's the final assembly. Got them both together, gear down. Couple of differences. The props are interchangeable, except the diameter of the prop is bigger on the Airfield one, but they both use that hex drive, so the props are interchangeable. You would not be able to put the Airfield prop on the FMS because the diameter is too big; it would hit the ground. But you could put the FMS prop on the Airfield if you needed to. I've also used a chrome spinner from an FMS. It's on my other one of the other one of these. I put the chrome spinner on that one, and the chrome hub for that matter. We've got nav lights everywhere on both of them. Got a red flasher on top here, but it's a green one on the bottom flashing on this one. I don't know if you can see. Well, you won't be able to see it anyway because I've got my hand back under the star. You can see it flashing, but it looks white because the green screen's canceling the green. And then we've got a green over here, which looks white. That's a green flashing. And then a red flashing over here. These are solid. This is a solid red here. And but the top and bottom are red flashing on this one. So the one on the top and the one on the bottom are flashing red. Of course, we've got a green one over there. And then we've got the landing light here on this one, which you can't see. Maybe I can tilt it up so you can see it. I don't know if I can tilt it far enough. It doesn't look like it. Why? You should be able to see that. Why isn't that showing up? It's right here. Okay, well, there, you can see it on my hand. It's I don't know why you can't see that on the camera, but there's a white light right there. That's a landing light, but it's just fading out right there for some reason. I don't know why. So anyway, so there's a white landing light there. This one has retracts with servo sequence servo doors on all three, the mains and the nose wheel. This does not have servo operated doors. These doors are all mechanical. When the gear goes up, it just closes the doors behind them. When they go down, you know, they just spring open. They're spring loaded to open, and then they get pulled closed. So servo operated doors on the Airfield, and just the catch wire mechanical doors on the FMS. Let's see, what else? The prop nut on the FMS, the little spinner, is the prop nut. On the Airfield, there is a prop nut behind the spinner to tighten up, and then the spinner also tightens up just like this one, just like the FMS. So let's see, what else is different? That's about it, guys. Really, they both build well. They, you know, of course, I haven't put all the control horns on because the storm's coming, and you might be able to hear a little bit of rain, but it's going to start blasting here in a minute, and I'm going to lose my sound. So I just wanted to get it finished up. So they're both sitting here on their gear. They both have the beautiful red and white propellers, which these are showing up good down here on the bottom, and these are showing up better on the top. But yeah, that's a I don't care what color a T-28 is. It doesn't matter. It always has a red and white paddle propeller, just like these two. Even my anniversary blue from Hobby King T-28 had a red and white paddle prop on it. It's just the standard for T-28s. So that's going to do it. Love both these airplanes so far. There is no suspension on the Airfield plane. We do have oleo struts on the FMS. So the FMS does have what looks to be a little bit more rugged gear. and it does have shock absorbing gear. This one does not. It's just got fixed plastic cladded to look good, but they're just straight wire landing gear. No oil struts on this one. I can tell you from my last one that the nose wheel is too small on this plane. The prop's too close to the ground. So what I did on mine is I had to cut a little bit of a relief in the back, very back of the wing there, and all I did was put a bigger wheel on it, and that did the trick. But I had to do a relief in the back so that the wheel would go up. But it definitely needs a bigger wheel on it. This one's just too small. So other than that, guys, the radio is powered up. The radio that came with it. Okay. And then when the FMS plane is on my other radio, and it also, although that's probably going to hit the prop there. Let me index that out of the way. There we go. That should work. So I couldn't run them at the same time because they would hit each other. But everything's hooked up on both of them. All the servos are working on both. I still have to put the control horns and connecting rods on the Airfield plane, and that's going to take some time that I didn't have time to do now. So, but everything's working, so we're good. So, all right, so that's going to do it, guys. That's my review of the two 1400 over here, 1450 over here, Airfield from Nitro Planes. You can look it up, but you can't buy them. They discontinued it. Now, if enough of us call HSD and say, hey, please make us the 1400, 1450 size T-28 again, we want them, who knows? Maybe they'll get off their ass and make them again. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and hope. But I know they have the molds, so they can make them if they want to. And I've flown this plane a lot, the other one I have, and it flies fantastic. The one I flew with these, not so great, but I have a feeling maybe it was a bad rendition of this plane. So we're going to give this one a real review. I'm going to go fly it and tell you what I really think of it. I'm not going to rely on my past experience flying somebody else's. It's just not fair to the plane. So FMS makes a great product. I love all their stuff. So I'm really anticipating that this is going to fly as good as this one did. So, but until I fly them, I'm going to leave it at that. But right now, I'm going to put the nudge on the FMS plane, but just this much. It's real close. They both build exactly the same. The quality of the builds, the quality of the planes are very close in quality, extremely close in quality. The landing gear kind of is crap on this one. I'll give you that. I don't care for the straight strut landing gear. They should have. But again, this is at least 7-year-old airplane, and we all know that everybody's been updating their stuff for the last 7 years. So, to be fair, if HSD machines their own landing gear on all their planes. So if they ever went back into production with this, they would machine nice all aluminum oleo strut landing gear for this, and it'd be fantastic. So I would love it if they would actually do that. So that's my review, guys. That's the build, the unboxing build review. I will do a flight review next. I'll take them both to the field and fly them. I do like the fact that this has servo operated doors instead of the snap shut mechanical doors on the FMS. So this one, I'm going to give them the nudge on the gear doors at least, because they have beautiful operating servo operated doors on this one. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comments at the bottom. Send a letter to HSD if you want them to get back into production making this one. I can promise you it's a great airplane because I already have this one for many years. Right after I bought the first one, I bought this one. So this one's been sitting in the box all this time, and I just now took it out. So, all right, so that's going to do it, guys. Again, like, subscribe, comments at the bottom, and we'll catch you on the flight review coming up next. So stay tuned. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.